When George Orwell wrote 1984, it was 1949. The world had just survived World War II. People had seen what happens when dictators take over, when propaganda replaces truth, and when fear becomes a tool of control. But Orwell didn't just write a story about the past. He wrote a warning about the future, a warning that feels strangely real in 2025. The story is set in a place called Oceania, one of 3 giant superstates that control the entire world. Oceania is ruled by a political party simply called the Party. And at the top of it all is Big Brother. Big Brother isn't just a leader, he's a symbol. His face is everywhere. Posters stare at you with the words, "Big Brother is watching you." And it's not just a slogan. In this world, every home has a telescreen, basically a TV that never turns off, watching you, listening to you, recording you. Privacy doesn't exist. The main character, Winston Smith, works at the Ministry of Truth. But here's the twist. The Ministry of Truth doesn't tell the truth. Its job is to rewrite history. If the party changes its mind about something, Winston's job is to go back and change all the old records so it looks like the party was always right. If the party says they've always been at war with a certain country, Winston erases every mention of peace. If they change an economic forecast, he alters the newspapers so the predictions always look correct. The past is constantly rewritten so that the party is never wrong. Orwell uses this to show one of the scariest ideas in the book. Whoever controls the past controls the present. And whoever controls the present controls the future. In other words, if you can erase and rewrite history, you can make people believe anything. Life in Oceania is filled with propaganda. Every day, citizens watch a broadcast called the 2 Minutes Hate, where they scream at images of the party's enemies. It's not just about anger, it's about shaping emotions so people don't think for themselves. Hate becomes a habit, directed wherever the party says. The party has 4 main ministries, and each one's name is the opposite of what it actually does. The Ministry of Truth spreads lies. The Ministry of Peace runs the endless wars. The Ministry of Love uses torture to enforce loyalty. The Ministry of Plenty creates shortages and hunger. Orwell's point is clear. Language can be twisted until words mean their exact opposite. And when people accept those twisted meanings, it becomes easier to accept lies as truth. One of the most famous ideas from 1984 is Newspeak, the official language of the party. Newspeak is designed to shrink vocabulary. Words that could express rebellion or complex thought are removed. For example, instead of saying bad, you say ungood. Instead of extremely bad, you say double plus ungood. It sounds silly at first, but the effect is terrifying. If you don't have words to describe freedom, justice, or rebellion, it becomes harder to even imagine those ideas. Winston secretly hates the party. He starts writing in a journal, something that's completely illegal. Writing your own thoughts down is considered thought crime, and thought crime is punishable by death, or worse. He also meets a woman named Julia, and they fall in love. Love is an act of rebellion because the party doesn't want personal loyalty to anyone but Big Brother. For a while, Winston and Julia find secret ways to meet. They dream of freedom. They believe there must be others like them who want to fight back. But eventually, they are betrayed. The man they thought was helping them, O'Brien, turns out to be a loyal member of the party. Winston and Julia are arrested, separated, and tortured in the Ministry of Love. The torture isn't just physical, it's psychological. O'Brien tells Winston that reality is whatever the party says it is. If the party says 2 + 2 = 5, then it's 5. And if you disagree, you're wrong. Not because of logic or facts, but because the party decides what's true. This is where Orwell introduces doublethink, the ability to hold 2 contradictory beliefs at the same time and accept both as true. It's mental control at the deepest level. The most famous torture scene is in Room 101, where prisoners are confronted with their worst fear. For Winston, that's rats. Faced with this terror, Winston finally betrays Julia, begging the party to harm her instead of him. This is the final break. They destroy his love, his loyalty, and his independence. By the end, Winston doesn't just obey Big Brother, he loves Big Brother. His mind is completely reshaped. So why does this matter in 25? Because Orwell wasn't just writing about a far-off fantasy, he was showing how truth can be twisted, how fear can be used to control, and how people can be made to accept almost anything if they're pressured enough. Think about our world today. We have smartphones, social media, and cameras everywhere. We trade privacy for convenience without thinking twice. Our online lives are tracked by companies and governments. Algorithms decide what news we see. In some countries, dissenting voices are silenced. In others, propaganda spreads so effectively that millions believe obvious lies. We even see language being reshaped. Complex issues are reduced to slogans and hashtags. People are pressured to take sides without questioning the facts. In Orwell's world, Newspeak made rebellion impossible. In ours, oversimplified speech and emotional manipulation can have a similar effect, making deep thinking harder and rare. And just like in 1984, history is constantly rewritten. Old social media posts disappear. Articles are edited or deleted. People deny events that happened just a few years ago. The past is becoming more flexible, more digital, and more fragile. Orwell's message is not just watch out for dictators, it's also watch out for yourself. Because 1984 shows that the most dangerous kind of control isn't just outside, it's inside. Once you accept the lies, once you stop questioning, once you give up your right to think, you don't even realize you're not free. In the end, 1984 isn't a hopeless book, it's a warning. Orwell wanted us to see the signs before it's too late. He wanted us to protect truth, language, privacy, and the right to think for ourselves. In 2025, with technology more powerful than Orwell ever imagined, the warning feels louder than ever. The world of 984 might not be here yet, but parts of it already are. The question is whether we will notice, and whether we will care enough to stop it.